can keep this archive for those individuals who can't join us on the Zoom call this morning. So hello and welcome. It is Monday, week 2 of the month of April. It's always good to kind of like do that check-in with myself to see if I remember where we are, who we are, what we're doing. We are heading into the second week of Portfolio in this special online format. We are attempting to run the same sort of student-led project model that we've been doing for the last few months. So we're going to take this opportunity in a minute to hear from all of our project managers, where everybody is and kind of what's going on. But before we do, I always like to just take a moment at the start of the week, certainly, just to check in with you guys and see what's going on. How you feeling? Are there any kinds of, any special support that you're needing right now? Any questions you have about what we're doing, or maybe any questions about your focus for the month, or how to dig into those things, those SMART goals that you said were important to you. So before we hear from the project managers, I just did want to invite anybody who wants to hop on the mic and say hello or share. I'm not going to make it a mandatory thing like we did sort of at the beginning of last week, but if anybody is feeling like they have something they want to bring to the table, I'd like to invite you guys to do that now. Looks like Greg is in need of some paper towels. If anybody has any extra. Desperate need, it sounds like. Welcome, Wolf. Glad that you are able to join us now in this space. If you want to get caught up on what's going on with the group projects, all those archives are posted in the Facebook group and likely in your FSO section as well. Renee, Roxanne, Swanee, I want to check in with you guys before we kind of move along on our morning agenda.
Well, I'll jump in. I've already spoke about my eyes. I've already spoke about my allergies, but I do want to share that last week I did participate in some of the virtual events that we have in the MCBS virtual calendar, and talk about it Thursday. It was eye-opening. It really was a good time for us to kind of share our feelings, where we are during this time, during the social isolation, and how we can kind of get past all that. And we had a lot of practical activities that we all participated in. And I really felt good leaving that session last Thursday. And it's going to be a recurring session. So if you would like to kind of participate in a feel-good session, take a look at that calendar, and there's Wellbeing Wednesday, there's Talk About It Thursday, there's a lot of good things that are taking place, and what I'm hearing is it's not as many participants as there could be, and should be, because we're making this available for all of us so that we can stay connected, as well as kind of make sure we're all kind of okay, that we're all okay and that we're doing all right. So I just kind of wanted to plug that.
Roxanne, would you mind just giving us a little bit of idea of like what that Talk About It Thursday session like entailed? Sure. It's like a structured thing, right? Like it's not like people just come in and hop on the mic.
Right. No, not at all. So Antonio Vincent is he's going for his master's degree in mental health counseling. He is a previous alumni from our program. So he is very connected to kind of our madness, if you will, and our vibe that we have going on. And so when he comes on, it's a space where we can share our feelings, but it's based through guided questions. So for example, last week we wrote down on a piece of paper all the kind of different feelings we had going on, one word feelings that we had going on. And then out of all those words, we selected a word and we talked about it. And then from there, he kind of, we all kind of shared how maybe we could change how we were feeling, whether it be negative, especially if it was kind of a negative feeling, and what we could do to kind of spin it a little bit and not feel that anymore. So once we went through that, we kind of went back to our word bank and picked a second word that maybe had the opposite feeling. So if I selected, like my feeling, for example, was I felt pissed. I was pissed about everything. And then, but my positive feeling was that that I was able to reach out to and still feel connected to many people, even though it was through social media. So we went through it, and sometimes it's good to know that we're all on the same boat and kind of feeling the same way. And it also feels good when we're sharing kind of how we can get past that. So Antonio he was great guiding us, and yet kind of letting us open up, but it felt guided. It was definitely guided, so that you almost felt like you were in a counseling session with a therapist, which was, again, as I said, after that session, I kind of felt good.
But also, just to clarify, that this is not at all like being in a in a therapy situation. It just
No.
offers you an avenue to talk about your feelings.
Exactly. But what I meant by therapy, I should clarify that, is that it like a lot of times when I would leave my therapist, I had a good feeling.
Yeah.
I had a like I could do this,
Yeah.
Type of feeling. And
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I felt that way leaving.
Yeah.
And it's also not recorded. It's, it's not, there's no judging. There's no, you just feel like you can really share and
Mm-hmm.
open your feelings.
Yeah, it sounds like a really affirming
Absolutely.
space, and a confidential one and a supportive one. I know that Kathy and Antonio and you and I have been, working to get just this kind of regular support in place. So thank you for sharing about that, Roxanne. I look forward to joining you guys on future meetups.
Yes,
sure.
yes. And then also there's one for Friday, a Friday blend gathering, and that I'm excited for.
So am I.
So yeah, I'm very excited. So if you guys have not gone on to this calendar, I do highly recommend take a look and see what's there that can kind of that you'd like to participate in.
Yeah, for sure. Does everybody and you can just say in the chat area, does everybody know what we're talking about? Like this MCBS virtual events calendar? Go ahead and holler in the chat area. So Katera says yes. Yes for
Good.
Kevin.
Oh, nice.
Good. Amira's on board. Shrey, yes. Jamel, yes. Maria. Colton. Okay, so certainly that is not everybody who is on this call, and no shame, no blame if you don't know what it is. But I'm going to drop a link here into the text. It's on the We Are MCBS page under virtual events. So if you go there, you can find it. Right there. And so again, essentially, like what I want to make sure is clear is that these are supplementary offerings, meaning that we understand that there's a lot of different things that have been scheduled, and that there is the creative quarantine, activities. There are what you're trying to do in this class, maybe perhaps your own creative projects. But we don't want you to feel as if there's no way to get involved or no way to connect. And so certainly take a look at this calendar, what's being offered, and hop in where it feels good. One of the things that, we're listening. We're listening to you. We're listening to what you say you want and need during this time, and trying to provide support that actually feels like support. And so one of the things that we were hearing from a number of different students was that they miss Friday Blend. Like, go figure, you guys miss Friday Blend. And so we didn't want to make that a mandatory type event. We can't do that in this space. But we are opening up a Friday Blend-ish experience for everybody to jump into on Friday. And we're going to do just, some of the same types of things that we do at the global gatherings. That energy of when everybody comes into that room, and we introduce the new folks, and we share things that we're working on. We ask for help in the areas that we need. That's the same sort of thing that we're going to be doing this Friday at 10 a.m. So there's going to be some loose structure to it, but the hope is to just generate the same sort of community and energy that we do on Friday mornings. So none of this is required. It is heavily encouraged. There will come a time when this situation that we're in is over. And the extent to which we can stay connected and engaged and involved with each other will really just help, bring us back to a place of wholeness when we're kind of given the all clear. So Roxanne, thank you for speaking about that and bringing up the calendar. I did want to make sure that everybody was aware of that. And things are being added to it all the time. So certainly check back on the regular. It's also, we're encouraging anybody who is facilitating one of those events to promote it on the Facebook group. So not just to put it on the calendar, but to give a what's up and to say, hey, everybody, this is going on at this time, this date, join us if you can, just to get as many eyes on it and to get as many people in the room, as possible. I want to throw it over to Renee just for a quick check-in. If there's anything you got going on or want to shout out.
Not too much. It's been nonstop wall-to-wall parenting over here. So it's a little strange to just be so stuck at home. And my wife's working a lot of nursing shifts. So for me, it's just uninterrupted 4-year-old world in between filling in every gap. So it's fun, but it's also just completely exhausting. So it's pretty hard to function and just in this little bubble, so go for walks and stuff, but it's mostly just being in here. So it's a little old. It was this weekend. It was only till May 2nd or even if you just think about when the schools release and you're so it's still April 4th. So it's just getting, the fun of any newness of this is getting where I'm just okay, this is going to be a while. So
I'm with you.
I've just kind of that was a little bit of my this weekend, and now I'm kind of looking to just maybe start some little projects and get some stuff going to make a plan, but it's very strange. So
I feel that too, Renee. I feel like I hit a wall on end of last week, Thursday or Friday. There's just something about it that I had good energy, an optimism, right? I'm not being super productive, and that's always a measure for me of if it's been a good day, I've been super productive and cross these things off the list, and my energy has been optimistic and hopeful, but I just haven't been making that as a measure of time or the value of the time. And something about the end of last week just felt a lot different. I felt really emotional. I felt like I was grieving a lot of the things that we all wanted, planned, hoped for, or having to re-envision, reimagine. That we did the completion ceremony celebration on Friday of all of the students who were supposed to graduate and walk across the stage on Friday, but instead we're in the Zoom meeting, and just to kind of see everybody and to feel just the real the joy of being together, but also at the same time hold space for like the sadness of so many people. There was online students and campus students who've been on this journey for years. Like we have walked together for years to get to like this moment in time that we couldn't quite celebrate the same way. And that hit me hard on Friday for sure, because I wanted more for all of those people who had worked so hard to get there. So over the weekend, I just like trying to take some deep breaths and like come at this week, like, okay, here we go. We are starting week 4 of being totally online. It's almost like I have a hard time keeping track at this point, but just reassessing, refocusing, like taking a deep breath. I'm not keeping like, try again tomorrow. Try again tomorrow. So, Swanee, what's up? You're on mute, kid.
It's my favorite week. It's Shark Week.
Shark Week. All right.
Love it.
Super bummed that I can't get in the water during all this. So that's kind of unfortunate because it's big migration season right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've been doing great. Cleaning the garage, going on some bike rides.
Yeah, I've been loving following your adventures. I'm like, oh, what's Swanee doing today?
Every day is an adventure. Unfortunately, I'm cooped up in my house, so that's a little hard. But hey, week 1 grades are all done. So
there you go. Yeah.
That's, always feels good. That's like the best teacher feeling ever. For sure.
I don't know who from my class is on, but I've left some feedback for everybody. So make sure you check your grade, and if you need to resubmit, please resubmit by tonight so we can go ahead and just move along and get those goals going. And make sure you do your career module so it can help you out with week 2. And check the announcements. I post a lot of stuff from Facebook on there for the guest speakers and the workshops and the Friday Blendish stuff. So all that information's there for you.
I feel like my third goal was pretty much rushed, so I might consider that.
Cool, Wolf.
That's it for me.
All right. So now, Roxanne, do you want to go through like the roll call and the project managers, and let's just get updates from those folks?
Absolutely. Okay. So I'm going to start with Kevin.
Hello, everybody. Man, I always feel like I go first.
Yeah, you're first on the list. I'll mix it up on Wednesday for you.
I'm kidding. Yeah, the group's going good. We had a majority of our group submit their personal mission statements last night for the project. Still looking out for a couple others. Besides that, working on a couple of things in terms of we're trying to find a logo that reflects what we're doing, and then we're also just continuing to work on the website, and everybody just continuously just contributing to the site. But yeah, overall it's been going good. Great communication from everybody. So
Kevin, what is can you give us an update on submissions? Are people like putting stuff together?
I've been occasionally, or more than occasionally, just checking the Google Drive, seeing if people are submitting. And so far, I've seen a couple. In my personal opinion, I would like to see more, but like I said, there's no pressure, to feel like you always have to submit something.
Sure.
But I would definitely like to see a little bit more contribution, or maybe some more work if people are up to it.
And what are you doing to encourage that and to elevate that invitation to a place of visibility for the community, for the group, that sort of thing?
I think for me, I think it's important not to be too imposing. Not like in a sense where like I give them space to do what they want and be able to create, but at the same time, kind of just still being there, providing that structure for my group. Or And so I think I'm just trying to find a fine balance between, hey, are you doing this? And hey, here's plenty of space for you to do it. So.
Yeah. I know that one of the things that we talked about though was also, sorry, somebody just stepped on my lap. Sorry, everybody. But like also pulled my earbuds out. Okay. One of the things that we talked about was like this being not an obligation, but an invitation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in order for people to see and understand what the invitation is, it has to be put out there. I understand what you're saying in terms of like there's no, like you're not tightening the screws. There's no pressure for people to do it. But if they don't know about it, they won't do it. If they're not seeing what other people are doing, like they're not going to do it. I will say that I made a post on my Insta story last week, and I've had probably 5 or 6 people from my personal life, like not MCBS students, who have sent me submissions like to put into this project, like other teachers, friends, people who are just kind of on the outside of the MCBS community. And so, I hear you saying that like you'd like to see more submissions. And I think that sharing what this is, what it means to you, and that invitation on the regular, like would help foster that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know why. I'm just not very good with social media, I guess. Like, I'm kind of a old man in that sense in terms of like, I don't know, but I think I'm going to start putting extra effort towards it to definitely get some more outreach. And
well, it doesn't just have to be you, right? Like you have a whole team around you. And so like maybe take an inventory of the resources within your team, who has the desire, the ability, and the reach to help promote what it is that you're working on, right? Like it's not up to you entirely. It's up to you to figure out what the need is and to and to delegate it accordingly within the group.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by delegate, I don't mean assign it without a conversation about like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how, like in your next group meeting, talk about who, might have, who might be uniquely suited, have the interest and the ability to help with this. Right. And like what that might mean on your side of things is that like you're providing them with the language or with the invitation, right? And that they're just being like executing it more than having to sit there and say, well, I don't know what Kevin wants me to say about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it becomes a team effort.
Yeah. And I was actually planning on that too. I would like to just kind of meet today after the class and just kind of gauge where everyone's at and then talk about things like this. So.
Okay. So if you're in Kevin's group, I'm assuming that Kevin is going to send you a Zoom link to meet after class.
Yep.
Is that
It
right?
should be the same one. Yeah, it's usually the same one we've been meeting on. So.
Okay. If you could, though, I think it's probably a good idea to repost it in your WhatsApp group.
Absolutely.
Cool.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Also, I do want to say I am like back channeling with this group and like participating in it with Kevin as well. And I'm like super excited about what's going on and what this project is offering to people. Because I will say I just sort of like put it out as an aside on my Instagram story, and the amount of responses that I've had from people who are not MCBS are kind of like startling. Like it's startling to me. Like actually like Jessica Ryder, who is MCBS grad, now works at Platinum. I just saw her writing this haiku with one of her Instagram posts, and I was like, oh, you should totally submit this to our project. And she goes, that's where I got the idea. So like people are seeing it. And I just think that we need to turn up the volume a little bit on the collective chatter about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Thanks, Kevin, for all you're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
So we have Jamel with Digital Tapestry.
Guys.
What is up, Jamel?
Sky. So with my group, we've been designing different things with a topic. So for our first week, we had MCBS as one of the themes, then we had growth as the other. And today we're meeting again. Well, I'm meeting with them individually today, so that way we can tackle this week's theme, which is, hold on, let me check my notes. It's in my notes. This week is going to be flowers and water as a theme. And I'm telling you guys, some of these designs that my group are doing are really nice. They're really talented. They're good. I don't know how to other way to word it. They're good at what they're doing, and they have some really good perspective on how they take these themes and run with them. Yeah, everything's been going smooth for my team. So yeah.
Jamel, what's the final product of this? Like, when are we going to get to see all of these amazing designs, and what's that going to look like?
So the final product, because I was gonna open it up to the whole MCBS, but I felt like that's a lot of people to be waiting on, and it's easier for me to control my small group of people. Not necessarily control, but like watch my small group of people than it is to watch a bunch and to wait for these designs. So the finished product is gonna be like it's gonna be all these designs put together with their theme. Like each theme is gonna be a different portion of the tapestry itself. So it's gonna be a theme, like a part of it that's gonna be like water theme, then flower theme, then MCBS theme. It's all gonna create one picture together.
But like, is it going to be a book? Is it going to be?
Oh no, it's gonna be a banner.
A banner.
Like
a web banner?
Yeah.
Like one web banner that is a collage of all of these images, or like a collection of images that scroll on a banner?
It's going to be a collage.
Okay.
Like a collage.
Do you have an example that you can share with us maybe on Wednesday so that we can kind of like see the vision?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
I have an example.
Cool.
So Jamel, I just I don't see Yabai and I don't see Shika. So would you mind can you speak to Yabai's podcasting?
Well, I have updates for Yabi's podcast group. So yesterday we did our first recording for our podcast, our share screen podcast, and it went really well. We had a lot of good discussions and a lot of interesting topics we talked about. The recording's already finished for that one. It's just going through editing right now. As for Ashika, I still haven't got anything back from her. I don't think she's actually doing the group. I'm not entirely sure, but I can get back with her.
Shika is in Port One. So Swanee, do you think you could check in with Shika to see what her intention is for this project?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Jamel, thank you so much for all you're doing to kind of report back and to help with these groups. You really are like stepping up and like really leading a lot of this stuff. So I just want to like high five to you.
Hey, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah.
When you see a need, you feel a need.
That's
Thank
the
you.
hope.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the hope.
So Lindsay, with your vlog, how is that coming along?
Hello.
Hello.
So it's coming. I guess people need like an extra day to get the week's worth of footage that we were set out to do, which is fine. So I gave people like a set of questions and topics to cover, and I was asking for like 15 minutes of footage each week. So I guess we can talk tomorrow after I get like all of the footage that I need. And then we'll like touch base tomorrow about like the next set of questions and things, and like what people are thinking works and what doesn't, and if we need to make adjustments, that's fine. If it's like too much, or if something needs to change, like I'm open to that. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. But we've been like in touch in our group chat and things, and we had a Zoom call last week. So yeah.
I would just like to ask for some clarification on the 15 minutes of footage.
Yeah.
So like each person is submitting to you 15 minutes worth of footage?
Yeah, just like so I can have some stuff to choose from. I'm not going to use it all, but that's kind of what I was asking for. But if it's like too much, then I guess we can adjust that. But yeah, usually I like to have more to choose from when I'm editing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, like, are you assigning people, like, so let's say someone was answering a question, because I know that's what you had initially, one of the initial thoughts that you have. Is that person going out, let's say you assign me a question, how are you feeling today? I have to provide you 15 minutes of footage about how I'm feeling, or I have to provide you 15 minutes of footage of me asking other people that?
Well, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different topics, questions that everyone is doing each week. So it's not just like one question.
Got it.
So it's like, yeah, it's a bunch of different things. So we have like, what's the highlight of your day? How are you getting through these times? Do you have a secret talent? Your most useless talent? And then like, how are you fighting the virus? And I think that one could be like funny if someone wants to like get out Lysol or something. And then like your daily routine. So if that has like to do with like cooking, working out, or like creating like some project that you're working on. So
got it. So everybody in your group is answering these 6 or 7 questions. And that should amass to 15 minutes worth of footage.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But again, like we'll talk about it tomorrow when we meet, and then we'll see what's working and what's not. Yeah,
I might encourage you to think about like chunking it a little bit more. I know that like when I'm asked to make a video, like there's a lot that goes into like 2 minutes of talking or 2 minutes of footage. So like 15 minutes of like preparing myself to say, like, answer all of these questions might feel a little overwhelming to take on at any one point in time. Like if you were just asking me to submit like, give me 2 minutes about like what your superpower is, or 2 minutes about your daily routine, I could turn that over to you a lot more quickly with less paralysis by analysis kind of a thing, like where you're just like, oh, I want it to be this way because it's a smaller ask. So I don't know, that might be something to discuss with your group.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Before I go on to Colton, I see a V30 in here. Can you please tell us who you are?
Weird.
It's James. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I've been having difficulty for 30 minutes trying to join in. It kept giving me an error code, so I've been struggling with that. I don't know what happened. So I had to join in on my phone. So
okay.
I'm sorry about that.
Okay, I'm just making sure that you belong. All right. Thank you, James. So now it's Colton's turn.
Hello, how are you?
What's up, Colton?
Okay.
So basically our group had our meeting.
Colton, your audio totally dipped out for me. Anybody else hearing Colton?
Nope. Did we lose him?
No, actually, I don't even see him anymore.
I don't see his icon. I think he got disconnected. Yeah, we might need to move on while he jumps back in because it'll take him a minute.
One question I want to pose to the group for consideration and for conversation once Colton gets back in is normally in week 2, Wednesday, we do something called a portfolio play date. And I'm wondering what that might look like for us in this space. How could we do something creative together in this environment on Wednesday? And so think about that. Think about the possibilities for sharing a skill or us doing some sort of creative challenge together with the time that we have on Wednesday. You know, maybe we take an hour and a half to like demo something and then we all work on it. So think about that for a second. I'm monitoring the chat. Lindsay says that Colton's computer died. So can we just actually get somebody else from Colton's group to report on where things are? Roxanne, who else is in that group?
We have Brian. We have, I'm trying to see who's here. Brian, Eleni, Maria. That's here.
Eleni, would you mind sharing a little bit?
Yeah, so we had a Zoom call last week and basically just talked about some of the tactics that he's used, you know, trying to figure out who is like a good person when, like influencers and different ways to grow, like, you know, commenting on people's posts, leaving messages, you know, making good connections rather than just scrolling through and liking things. And like, we kind of just talked about what tactics worked for each of us and what he's used.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of just like a conversation.
Sorry, I didn't hear the last thing, but we did talk about how he goes about like gaining like followers or gaining like recognition throughout his Instagram, like how he goes about messaging certain people that are in his like niche or whatever. It was very interesting to like hear how he does things, because I would have never thought like going to different accounts and seeing those accounts can promote my account. So he was talking about how he does that, and it was just really cool.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. What do you guys have set up as like a next step, the next thing that you're doing?
As far as the next step, we haven't really heard back from them. We had that one meeting, and then he kind of told us to go off and try it.
Okay.
As far as the next part, we haven't heard what's next, but he did give us a like, you should go out and try this after we get off this meeting. And I, for one, did do that. Like, I did start messaging people that fit into what I do and what I like want to promote my account with. So, yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm guessing that Colton's having a little bit of an issue getting back in. So I want to throw this out to the faculty first, just to give you guys a little bit more think time. But Swanee, Roxanne, Renee, you know, what do you think is a possibility for us on Wednesday with our portfolio play date?
Do a photo exercise or maybe a lighting exercise.
Mm-hmm. Roxanne?
I'm still thinking.
Renee, any thoughts on
I'm still
the possibility for a port play date?
Yeah, I'm kind of following along with what Swanee is thinking of, something with photo, just to see what we can do in terms of like maybe a photo scavenger hunt or some kind of theme with whatever we're doing. We could also maybe do something typography based, some kind of tool that, you know, that we all have access to that we can work with.
I like that idea. I like the, I'm thinking to what Greg put in the chat area, the free Colton. Like, what if we all made like posters, like individual posters for ourselves, like free Emily, free Renee, and that like we could utilize some design, some like photography, some topography with it. Maybe something along those lines. Something kind of tongue in cheek about us being in quarantine.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I want to open it up to any thoughts that you guys have for some possibilities here, because certainly what I want to do, like, you know, and to mimic it as close as we can in this environment, is I want to invite anybody who wants to come join us for this, so that it's going to be activity based, that it's not like today where we're just reporting and everybody is like hopping on the mic for a second if they want to share. And it's not going to be about like, let's talk about how we're feeling. It's going to be doing. And so I'm going to throw this invitation out to, I'm going to put it on the virtual MCBS calendar, and anybody who wants to come, I want to have them come. So if you have friends in other classes and other degree programs, even, like, bring them on board. And what are your ideas, guys? Like, what's possible for this?
I think maybe if like someone who is either like a teacher or a student in here who is really good at a certain skill, let's just say Photoshop, for example, if they like would share their screen and do almost like a workshop type thing. But that might be hard, because can you share, like, see someone's screen and work on your own at the same time? Because if you could, that would work. If not, that would be really hard.
You can.
Yeah, we can figure that out, I think.
Okay, I think that'd be really cool.
Is there anybody in this port group who remembers when we used to do copycatter day exercises? Ringing a bell for anybody? Copycatter day.
I don't think anybody in this group has done a copycatter day.
Ooh, copycatter day sounds fun.
I know.
I haven't done one in a while.
Yeah, and also you can have if you're not in full screen, you can work, and as long as it's not being shared, you can work while others are talking, if that makes sense, on your laptop.
So so maybe like where you put it on, you know, share your screen or whatever, but then we can make that window a little smaller so it's not full screen, and have that available. It's gonna be a little weird if you don't have multiple screens. It'll be a little tricky to make sure that everybody can see, or at least swiping back and forth or whatnot. I'm not sure. It's gonna be a little.
We can test that out. We can figure that out. I'm loving what Alex threw out there too. Maybe we can make coloring books of the free us posters. Coloring is very therapeutic. That would be really cool. Like that we made a coloring book of all the posters that we make on Wednesday. I'm digging that idea a lot. Sounds just like it's like multifunctional, like, so we can learn something about design, but also get our zen on with some coloring. I dig it. So I know that I just threw out this term copycatter day out there, and Renee and Roxanne seem to be the only ones who are familiar with it, but it's where we bring in an example of something like a finished product, and then we ask you guys to do your best to copy the design or copy whatever it is that we created, and then we demo how to do certain techniques so that you're learning how to do it as we go along. So it's, I think that idea could work well for this, where we're demoing certain techniques, or like a particular kind of finished product, and then use the time that we have to coach everybody to get in that. Okay. Cool. I see that we have Colton back on the line. Colton, do you want to hop in with some thoughts on where you are with your group project?
Yeah, so yeah, my apologies, my laptop died, but basically, our group, we had our first meeting, I believe, 2 days ago, and it went well. It was pretty informational. We just kind of shared different strategies that we're currently doing, such as finding that most active followers and finding the most active users within their specific niches, as well as really how to leverage finding those active users and using them to your benefit to not only gain engagement to your profile, but to potentially monetize your profile as well. So we're planning on meeting again. I'm going to send a text out in our group chat, most likely tomorrow at some point. I'll most likely, I think 1 p.m. I'm thinking we're going to do it. So our second meeting is going to happen tomorrow. And I figured out how to get my phone to pop up with the Zoom call. So I'm now going to dive deep into my analytics and kind of explain how I go about looking throughout all those. And
Cool.
yeah, that's about it so far.
That sounds good. When is the next time that your group is going to meet?
I was thinking tomorrow. So yeah, tomorrow at 1, I'm gonna think.
All right. Any questions from the faculty for Colton or any of these other groups?
Sorry, I forgot to mute. I think my child's cartoon might be on the audio.
Oh. All right. So that is, really all I have in terms of like our time together today. But Roxanne, did you have anything else administratively that you wanted to shout out?
Well, I do want to remind everyone that next week is spring break.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, next week is spring break. So
enjoy.
It's gonna be totally different.
So yeah, we have a Wednesday assignment, but then Friday is our Friday blendish meet. But then after that is we have spring break. So yeah, that's the only administrative stuff I have.
Okay. All right, you guys. So what we're going to do then is we are going to reconvene here on Wednesday at 10 a.m. for our portfolio play date to be, the topic of which, the time of which to be sort of solidified and determined between now and then. But please show up and know that this is going to be an active class, that you will learn something, that we will create something together, that there is a goal for our time besides just the general checking in. And I'm going to put something out on the Facebook group between now and then to also invite folks from other classes. So if you guys have any questions about that, you know how to get in touch with me in a number of different ways. I'm monitoring the chat a little bit here to see that Megna asked if there was class. There is no official class on Friday. It is our Friday blend-ish activity meetup where we're going to be hanging out together, old school Friday blend style, like we're just one giant group in a giant classroom. So, hoping that you guys can be there for that as well. With that, I'm going to stop this recording.